to my kings, queens, and in-betweens. I'm Valerie, and welcome to my channel, The Bookish Valkyrie. So today's video is just a bunch of quick recommendations for some super short holiday reads. All of these recommendations are 200 pages or less. Most of them are under 150 or under even 100 pages. I've got one on here that is 26 pages, so let's get into it. First up, I have a bunch of books from Adriana Herrera. So there is her Toy Runners series. There are 3 books, the third one of which just came out this year, and I have not read yet, but I trust her, and so I'm going to include that. It starts with Her Night with Santa, and that is 71 pages. It is sapphic and super short, super hot, and very seasonal. The next one is The Toy King, and this one is a male-female romance. And again, the theme is super short, super hot, super seasonal. And the third one is 108 pages, and it is called Run Darling. Like I said, it just barely came out, and I haven't read it yet, but I expect that it's going to be just as delicious as all of her other books have been. These books are all about the traditional toy runners, such as Santa or the Three Kings. I'm not sure. I think Run Darling might be a Three Kings interpretation, but basically the idea is that all of these holiday toy runners are familial businesses. They do have magic, but they're not immortal. So Her Night with Santa features a woman who is Santa. She's the current Santa, and her name is Chris, or Christina. And then in The Toy King, we have one of the Three Kings, or somebody who has taken over a position for one of the Three Kings. I believe Run Darling is featuring the first female of the Three Kings. And I believe that Run Darling is also a male-female pairing. And then next is a standalone from Adriana Herrera, and that is Mangoes and Mistletoe. It is a sapphic, Great British Bake Off style short story. It is 152 pages, and it is delicious both in the spice department and in the food department, because this one's gonna make you hungry. And last from Adriana Herrera, I am recommending American Christmas, which is the 4.5 novella for her Dreamers series, and this one is 92 pages of just wonderful, wonderful romance between 2 men, and they are both immigrants to the U.S. They are both characters from the first book. They are the employees of one of the main characters, and then you kind of see their romance unfolding in the background of the series, and then this is where they get their story. And the next author I have for you with a couple of super short holiday novellas is DJ Jameson. The first one I have is 89 pages. It's called Mistletoe Kisses. Don't let the cover mislead you. It does look like it might be YA because of how young the faces of these 2 characters on the cover look. But it's definitely not YA. This is actually part of, I think it's 3.5 in her Games We Play series set in Granville. And Joe, from the title, is a mechanic, and Augustus is the accountant for the auto shop that Joe works for. So definitely very adult. And I really enjoyed it. Augustus is like the grumpiest grump to ever grump. And Joe is just sweetness and sunshine. He is an absolute cinnamon roll. And he has been relentless in his flirting with Augustus. And then they finally have a night together. But then Augustus panics. And we go from there. And the next one from DJ Jameson is All I Want Is You. This is another mistletoe-related holiday romance. It is 192 pages. And this is featuring two former best friends who kiss under the mistletoe when they are 18. And one rejects the other, and the one who is rejected runs away. He is coming back to town, and he is faced with a reunion with this best friend who broke his heart. But turns out the best friend was just afraid and not ready to confront his queerness. And so that is why he rejected him, and now this is their second chance romance. Friends to lovers-ish kind of story. And it is 192 pages. That is all I have for DJ Jameson. Next one I have is from Roan Parrish. It is 26 pages. I mentioned this one in my last Christmas or holiday romance video. That, like I said, it's 26 pages, and it is just an absolute delight. And like, this is probably a really good entry point for Roan Parrish if you haven't read anything from her, because this shows off the amount of skill that she has as a writer, because I am blown away at how much she manages to cram in these 26 pages. It is a full-on holiday romance, and I love it. It's so good. Moving on to my next author, I have Kat Wynn. And she has 3 holiday romances, one of which just came out, and they are in the Games series. These are 3 novellas that are connected to her earlier release this year called Airplane Games. 2 of them happen before Airplane Games, and one of them happens after. The first 2 are Holiday Games and Hotel Games. These are snowed-in romances, and they feature a friends' holiday gathering that is put on hold overnight because everybody is snowed in. So in Hotel Games, which is 68 pages, we have a girl who is the one hosting, and the only person who shows up to her party is somebody she didn't invite. He is a chef, and there's definitely some food involved. There is a stowaway kitten involved, and it's definitely grumpy sunshine. I would say all of these are grumpy sunshine, with the women being the grumps and the men being the sunshine. Well, okay. I take that back. Holiday Games is grumpy sunshine. Hotel Games is grumpy. So Hotel Games is featuring the best friend and brother of the girl from Holiday Games. They are on their way to meet her, only to find themselves absolutely unable to proceed. The roads are impassable, and so they pull over at the nearest hotel they can find, and wouldn't you know, there's only one hotel room, and that hotel room, yeah, it only has one bed. So these couple of grumps who profess to hate each other and yet always seem to be vibing on each other are forced to share the same space overnight, and one thing leads to another, and yeah, bingo bango, there we go. And that is a fun little romance. And then Airplane Games doesn't take place in the holidays, however, Jingle Bell Games does. This is a steamy romance. It's a steamy locked-in rather than snowed-in romance. So, forced proximity. You may have cut on to this, but forced proximity is one of my favorite tropes. So in this book, we have a woman who lost her job, and this is definitely Grumpy Sunshine, where she's the grump and he's the sunshine. The female main character lost her job as an accountant and picked up this seasonal job as sort of a stopgap while she kind of like reassessed how she wanted to proceed, and is as a cashier at a holiday pop-up store. This store is owned by an older couple and their adult son. This is an age gap romance. The woman is 31 and the man is 26. And there's definitely like a dom sub kind of situation going on. And it's a good time. The 26-year-old guy is like an absolute embodiment of holiday cheer, whereas the female grumpy lead is exactly that. She's not necessarily a Grinch. She doesn't hate Christmas in particular, but she is blunt. Like, actually, I think her last name is technically Blunt as well. So she is blunt to a fault, and terribly cynical. And yeah, we get to see her unraveled, and it's a good time. Next up, I have A Kiss for Santa by Mia Monroe. It is 132 pages, and it is a Santa romance, as the title implies. In this story, it's another familial Santa situation. The current Santa has been watching a man that he is terribly in love with for quite some time, and he hasn't wanted to approach him because he didn't want to take him away from his fulfilling life, or what appeared to be his fulfilling life. But he finds himself forced into a situation where he absolutely must marry or lose his magic, and his position will be passed on to his brother, a brother who does not want the position. And the Christmas council that is in charge of the Christmas magic situation basically tell him, you're going to marry this guy who he does not want to marry, or find yourself a husband by the end of the week, or lose your position as Santa and make both yourself and your brother miserable. So he does what he needs to do, and he starts to romance his chosen lover. And then next up, I have a 98-page novella by Mika James. It's called Being Merry, and it is part of the Desert Rose Hookups series. This is a sapphic romance where a woman's sister essentially promises on her behalf that she'll take on a new roommate. So she's forced into this by her sister, and this new roommate is a Christmas fanatic. She is all about the holiday cheer, whereas our other protagonist, not so much. Definitely in Grinch territory. She is very anti-Christmas, very anti-holiday cheer, and she is being driven up the wall by her new roommate's insistence on holiday decorations and, being cheerful. This is very short, very hot, and the whole thing is just fantastic. Mika James is definitely one of my favorite romance writers, and I definitely need to dig into her backlist a bit more, but She got some skills. Next up, I have A Christmas Gone Perfectly Wrong by Celia Grant. It's 188 pages, and this is the only historical romance that I have on here. It is absolutely delightful. If you are looking for a perfect historical holiday short story, this is it. It is forced proximity, it is a fake relationship, and it is definitely one of my favorite holiday reads, and I think I might revisit it this year. I don't know. We'll see. All right, and then the next one I have is from one of my absolute favorites, Cat Sebastian, and that is Tommy Cabot Was Here. It is 102 pages of grumpy sunshine glory. One of the main characters, the grump in our midst, is a teacher at the local boys' school, and his former bestie is the father of one of his students. And he is living in a house very nearby, and he is in the midst of fixing it up. It is in shambles. A little bit of an allegory for himself, but he's working on it, and he's doing a good job. And there is just such a good dynamic there. I just love it. It is the best, and it is the start of the Cabot's series by Cat Sebastian. It takes place mostly over the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays, and I just love it. Absolutely, 100%, 10 out of 10 recommend. So next up, I have A Very Armitage Christmas, and it is novel 2.5 in the Mismatched Mates series by Elliot Grayson. This is 70 pages of absolute mayhem. There are shifters, there are zombies, and there are in-laws, and it is just glorious. I talk about this at a little more length in my last holiday romance video, and it's very good. If you could probably read it as a standalone and still understand everything that happens, but if you want to see all of the history involved with the characters, then you're going to want to read books 1 and 2 of the Mismatched Mates series. The main characters in this are actually the mates of the two brothers from the first 2 books, and it's more of a familial story, but there's definitely still some romance happening. You definitely see your 2 couples, getting spicy. But it is predominantly about these 2 mates of these 2 brothers figuring out their familial dynamic now that they are in-laws. And then my last recommendation is Gifting Me to His Best Friend by Katie Robert. It is 141 pages of absolutely salacious good times. Basically, we have 2 best friends, one of which is married. They are both bisexual men, and the wife is very much interested in maintaining her marriage and inviting her husband's best friend to join them. The 2 best friends have always had a bit of a thing for each other, but it was never the right time. Anytime one of them was single, the other one was absolutely not. And this is probably one of the most well-written of the books in the series, I think, personally. But I absolutely recommend it, and that is it for the video. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. I hope that you are safe, and I hope that you have a good time with everything that you are reading. And I will see you next video. Happy holidays. Today's video is just a bunch of fun and fluff. So if you are wanting to beef up your Goodreads, you say, we are about just short of a week away. Hello, kitty kitty. Yeah. No. You can't have the tea. Move. Such a brat. To help you through the rest of this week before and then my next author with a couple of books, Christmas short, the auto shop. No. Come here. Come here. Boop. Yeah. Boop. Angry kitty. Stop distracting me. Don't be fun. Definitely in Grunch.